What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights. We're going to be giving you Eagles, Chiefs predictions, but we're going to be leading off Sixers, Celtics postgame. Come talk to us. Let's go. What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about? Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we're brought to you by Royal Billiard, the premier game room store of the Delaware Valley, stocked with the very best in pool tables, accessories, shuffleboards, card tables, dart supplies, bars, bar stools. Turn any ordinary room into an extraordinary gaming experience. Oh, did we mention they have hot tubs too? Stop by Royal Billiard, located 515 Bethlehem Pike, Colmar, PA, or visit them on the web, royalbilliard.com. As always, Chrome, Greg, Ralph, Frank, I'm Tom. Everybody out there, no Ryan tonight, no Noah tonight. And I actually forgot to send the link to Blake. So I'll do that throughout the show here. But either way, we got a lot to talk about, baby. Eagles, Chiefs, predictions. We're coming off the bye week. The Chiefs are also coming off the bye week. So we'll break that down in the second half of the show. We'll give you our players of the game and get all into ramp back up for Eagles again. Second half run talk. So we got a lot to talk about. Eagles, Chiefs, Monday night revenge game. But our main topic at hand is going to be Sixers, Celtics post game, but go over, obviously Sixers here in the first half of the show. Ties into our poll question, and that is brought to you by, sorry, I'm just trying to pull something up here. Brought to you by Carlino's Market. They're located in Ardmore and Westchester, PA. You can go check them out right online. Carlino'sMarket.com is where you can find them, or Carlino's Market on all your social media platforms. They got the very best in gourmet cheeses, meats, olive oils, gift baskets. Go check them out. You can elevate your dining with Carlino's Gourmet Italian Deli. Get the taste of Italy now. All right, go get it. Go get a little Italy in your life. Our poll. Losing back-to-back games at home after winning 8 straight games is highly concerning. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. And everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. So after losing back-to-back games at home, after you won 8 in a row, it's highly concerning. Agree or disagree? I mean, you never like to lose back-to-back games at home. So that's never like an ideal thing, right? Never ideal. But highly concerning? No, I disagree to highly concerning. Just like you can't cut the Nets down winning 8 in a row. You know what I mean? You're not sprinting abroad in November, right? It's good. It's a good thing, right? But you're trying to hamper your expectations to a point too, right? It's hard. Just like after losing back-to-back games. Now, they played 3 games in 4 nights. Never easy. I think you saw that tonight. I think you saw that tonight in tonight's loss. No excuse, right? You had a chance to win the basketball game, take the lead, hold the lead, right? But you weren't able to get it done. And I think you saw some tired legs tonight. Again, no excuse, but I'm just not highly concerned. There's no Nicholas Batum, right? And there's no Kelly Oubre right now. And if you would have told me that before the season started, I would have laughed at you, right? But it shows you the lack of depth you have when you take 2 guys off the wing like you had, right? And I think you saw a little bit of that too. So I'm not highly concerned. You get a little concerned after back-to-back, and now you got to hope they come out Friday with their hair on fire a little bit, right? So I'm just not there. I'm not there yet. I don't like some of the things I saw late in both games, offensively that I thought we were sort of out of. The sort of creep back in. But again, November, I hope we get those things cleaned up. I did love our bench energy tonight. I did think Jaden Springer is sort of yelling for more minutes now in a way. And I thought Paul Reed was really good in his minutes in his run tonight. So there were some positives there. So I'm not highly concerned. Joel and Maxey got to play better. They didn't have their best games tonight. You chalk it up to being tired, on the fourth, third game in 4 nights. I don't know. Is it Boston? I don't know. So, but highly concerned? No, I disagree. I'm not even like a little concerned. It's like a little like, if you lose Friday, I might start having some problems.
Friday's like the Hawks, right?
Yeah, but like right now,
the Hawks. Yeah.
Not trying to overreact to either or. I'm just trying to stay in the moment and say they got to get some things cleaned up. And they got to get, you need Batum back and you need Kelly Oubre back as soon as possible because you just see it. Now, again, Jaden Springer is like demanding more minutes now, which isn't a bad thing. Marcus Morris, I don't know if he has a pulse since he got here. So looking forward to seeing that maybe. And Joel's been a little sloppy in the fourth. So that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, next three games for the Sixers is at Atlanta, which is the in-season tournament game, and then at Brooklyn, and then home against Cleveland on Tuesday. So they go Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. Coming up.
I'd say they do with some days off now. Right. You'd
have to think that's a 2 out of 3, if not 3-0, right? That's a 2-1, 3-0 stretch. It should be, in theory, right? We know those, as we saw last night. We know those in-season games have ratcheted up a notch, and it's not a bad thing, right? I was one of those guys opposed to the in-season tournament, just thought it was a gimmick and terrible. But if you get some meaningful basketball throughout the month of November, it was entertaining at least to watch, right? And I guess if that's what you're going for, then they're succeeding so far. I'll continue to go while I'm talking. I'll disagree. I didn't like tonight's loss at all. I thought tonight's loss is a really, really bad loss. But Tommy, I think you hit on the head, right? We're 2-3 weeks into the year, right? We always talk about, and regardless of how good or bad, right? We always look at that Christmas, New Year's Day area of how you can really take a look at this, at your team, right? Whether they're going to potentially, be a really good team or they might be a really bad team, and you have to potentially start making moves. It's funny, outside of Jaden Springer and Paul Reed, you're right, Tommy. I didn't like a lot of what our bench did, right? I thought our bench was really bad outside of those two guys. I thought Jaden brought a jolt, and it was good to see, right? Because now you're sitting there like, okay, maybe this wasn't a wasted first-round pick, right? Because his minutes were very limited through the dock rain. And then obviously with injuries to Batum and Oubre and a new coaching staff, it's allowed him to kind of gauge and get more potential playing time. So I think he's definitely earned it.
You know what I think gets views, Greg? Real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I think it's important. Like, what I think people want you to do is treat a sport like it's football, right? And like, you come on here and you want me ranting and raving. Like, I don't know what else I need. Julian, I love you too, brother. But like, you tell me that forget a second who they are missing. Okay, forget a second, because now there's one ball to go around. Did they win tonight? Like I told Bill Middlebrook, did they win tonight with Porzingis and Brown? I don't know. Probably, but we don't got a crystal ball for that. So that's basic stuff. Like I don't got a crystal ball to know if they guaranteed they win, right? If they get such good ball movement, if they get certain stock. Nobody doesn't know. You assume they would if they're beating you by 10, but you don't know. And I wasn't making excuses. I said 5 times, I think, in the opening, I had no excuses. There's no excuses. It's not I'm not running around going, hey, let's lose 2 in a row at home. Let's lose back-to-back games at home. I'm not running around for that. So do I not like it? No, I hate it. I despise it. I think Joel was sloppy tonight. But the people like now Marston's like, will we ever show up in big games? Like what? Like what?
What's a big game in November?
Like, what's the big game in November? And he has essentially, had great games. Like we're not gonna talk about Tyrese the same way.
Yeah.
We had 20 tonight. So I mean off of 50, he had two down nights.
You 2 duds, yeah.
2 duds. And that's okay. That happens. It's a league of that. The league of runs. All right. But like, can we just relax for a sec though? Like, again, what did I say? You're gonna find out Friday night. Like you start losing 3, 4 in a row. That's what bad teams do. Mm-hmm. So you hope that they get it together. And yes, Batum and Oubre help this team And I'm not telling you star roles, but don't tell me, Julian, that's when you take both of them out. That's not like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Who's my wing depth? Who are my wing defenders? What'd you get killed tonight on?
Yeah, and you saw it even on the offensive end too. Like outside of Tobias as that third option, it was scattered, right? It was scattered throughout there. Melton had a couple of shots, but you're right. You miss those guys when they're there. And my last thing is, it's funny. My last thing and point is, you wonder if the new rules and the new emphasis that they're putting on players not sitting. You wonder if even Joel would have played tonight if this was like a regular, like last year or 2 years ago, right? Back to back, at home. You even wonder if he would have even played tonight just because it's
questionable last night coming in.
He was, absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying, like, you got 50 out of the kid. So what? So what, Mr. Rudy? Now I can. Got 20. Go look pedestrian. Get the frick out of here. Like you drop 50 in a goddamn NBA game. I'm not expecting you to drop 50 every night, but I'm expecting you to be consistent too. These are two guys, right? These are two guys. If they don't play to the level we want them to play at, we ain't going. You're going to get results like this. So it's not a one-way street here with one guy. Yeah, it starts with Joel. He wasn't good enough the last 2 nights, in my opinion. All right? Wasn't terrible, wasn't good enough. Right? So Tyrese, same way. Same way. Wasn't terrible, but wasn't good enough. Okay? So here you are. You talk about a guy who averages 30, guy who averages 25. So I need you to be around there. So come on. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but like, let's be real. Let's be fair. Like, it might be the same damn team that goes down the second round again. I don't know. But at the end of the day, nobody knows. Yeah. So can we're going to start roasting guys this early in?
We're 11 games in. We're 11 games in.
Hold on. Last thing. There was a jerk-off party going on in here through the 8 wins because I did a lot of post-games for him, and we did a lot of shows for him based around him. So don't tell me there wasn't in the chat. Now, everybody, 2 games. Now, look at everybody off the wagon. Guys, he ain't the guy. He might not be the guy. But we're doing it that quick.
Trade block.
Goodness gracious. Like, if it's a second round goddamn exit again, you're going to hear me personally say changes need to happen.
Yeah. For sure. I think,
that's it.
Well, the other thing, too, is, right, we're talking about, he's a 23-year-old kid. Well, first of all, it's his 4th season in the NBA, right? Everybody was pining to trade James Harden so he could be the number 2 option. So this is the time where he has to step up. So, 25 points per game, that's about what he should be at. And the last 2 nights, it just hasn't been on par. And when you talk about the bench, I mean, if you look at the box score, it's a lot of zeros. Like, they're not filling up anything. We're not getting rebounds. They're not contributing in anything. The bench outside of Jaden Springer and Paul Reed was 0 for 9 from the field with nothing except for, I think Pat Beverly had like an assist and a rebound. They had nothing across the board. They contributed literally 0 to this ball game. You cannot have that. You look at a team like Boston who gets contributions from their bench. That's what makes them better. Now, this team has been much better, but that's why you need a guy like Batum, and you need to have Kelly Oubre in here to where you have, your proper rotation in to where you're getting that kind of contribution off the bench. Then you're a much deeper team. But at this point, you had 2 guys, and Springer was kind of a surprise at this point, right? Because, we like his potential, but he hasn't really done much to this point. So to me, I look at anything he gave us tonight was a bonus. Paul Reed gave us, really good numbers tonight. Didn't look crazy or overly enthusiastic. Didn't turn the ball over like he sometimes can. Outside of those 2 guys, you literally got 0. No rebounds, no assists, no steals, no nothing from the bench. That's unacceptable. Doesn't matter what the rotations are. I saw people talking about, I didn't like the rotations tonight. It's the same rotations they've been running, minus having Batum out of the lineup and Oubre out of the lineup. You can't do anything about that. You have to change up the rotations. I agree with you guys. I thought Joel, I feel like the last 2 games he's kind of come out a little bit sluggish. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And Maxey, it seems same thing. Maxey was scoreless in the first quarter. He seems to turn it on later as the game goes on. But, I'd like to see him get off to a few better starts because these last couple of games, at minus the 50-point game, he's started very slow through the first quarter and a half, and then he turns it on in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, Joel, again, he shot 50% tonight. He had 9 boards, 7 assists, only 2 turnovers, but he only had 20 points. And he was a minus 25. So, I mean.
Well, the big thing tonight, Tom, is he didn't get to the line as much, right? And that's a big part of his game is he gets to the line. You know, when you look at what he did as far as from the field, that's about on par from what he usually does. He just didn't get to the line tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, I'll go real quick. Or unless Frank, if you want to go, it's up to you, buddy.
I mean, whatever you want to do.
I'll go.
Right,
For me, just being, obviously the whole outsider shit. It is what it is. But I'm gonna put you guys in your shoes. I'm gonna say disagree, just because of the fact that we're 11 games in, right? You're 8-3. You're still second in the East. It's not like the sky is falling, unlike some team out west that has another guy on their team that 0-6 can't win a game. But it is what it is. You love to see it. But for this team moving forward, it's very, very early on the season. 11 games in, you're 8-3. Like I said, you're still second in the East. The sky's not falling. Obviously, you would like to come back. I mean, you already beat Boston by 3 early on in the season, way early in the season, 4 or 5 games in. You would have loved to get another win tonight against Boston to make it 2-0 so far against them this season. But so far, you're 1-1 against a team that pretty much everybody in the city could say you struggled a little bit. You struggle a little bit with, and that's Boston. But for me, disagree. It's not highly concerning because it's so early on in the season, and we got plenty of more basketball left to go. We got 70-something or 60-something games left to play, to get this, the ship still rocking and sailing on the high waters. But for me, it's disagree. You guys shouldn't be concerned at all. And Joel and Tyrese are still going to be that 1-2 punch for this team moving forward, no matter what. So as long as those guys are in the starting 5 every single night, there should be positivity in the city.
All righty.
I guess I'll also hop on the disagree train as well.
Yeah, it's hard to come by here. I know.
Yeah,
I know. I said the big P word. Positivity. We don't really throw that around here that much in the city. You know what I mean? So I had to chime that in.
That's a taboo
I
word.
mean, for me, I'm also going to hop on the disagree train. I mean, yeah, it's still early in the season.
Hold on, Frank, what is going on down in chat, man? We're 11 games in, and we're bashing guys, man. Oh my God, this is crazy. this is insane. You're 8-3 and second in the East. This is insane. This is wild.
This is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
This is Philadelphia.
Wow.
And I think, you had that weird quirk in the schedule where you had back-to-back games against Indiana. And then after the game against Indiana, you return to a back-to-back, of course, against, of all teams, Boston. I mean, it was one of those weird things on the schedule. And, it didn't help that we didn't have Batum. We didn't have Oubre. And whatever's going on in the Kelly Oubre saga. All right, I hope that all gets all figured out. But, yeah, it's still too early in the season now. If this was like midway through the season and let's say Daryl makes some big trade and this team's a lot better than it should be, then I can raise some concerns. But at this point in the season, hard disagree.
Yeah, yeah. And real quick, I mean, Jules, we were just talking about how deep the rotation was 7 days ago before a car incident. I mean, what are we talking about? We just talked about Batum, Rocco, and then Paul Reed, and then the guys coming off your bench, right? That you're really comfortable with. Pat Bev, right? In those roles was way better. Okay, that's what we're just talking about. Now Rocco's starting tonight. Are we all here? Are we all on the same page? Like, we're just talking about how deep they were. Now they're not deep. Look, yeah, because the last 2 nights they didn't have guys. So it really high, right? They had 8 points last night or 6 points from a bench in a goddamn NBA game. Are we okay? But that's the point. Because we're not. You're talking about 2 guys that will be coming off your bench that aren't right now. You know what I mean? That's like big. If you add Oubre in the lineup, then Rocco comes off your bench. So any way you slice it, you're missing 2 guys off your bench that are scorers that are supposed to give you production in Batum and Rocco. Again, not crowning them. I'm telling you, that's what they're supposed to give you. So we can't have this both ways. All right, I hear you on the Embiid stuff, guys. I get it. I'm not here to argue that. I'll argue that he's special, right? I'm not going to argue about a goddamn game in November about him, right? He's freaking big. He's a gigantic human being. You guys think he's moping. Maybe he's just moving slow because he's gigantic. I mean, goodness gracious, we ever think of that? We always say he's moping. He's moping. Look at him mope around, Tom. Freaking gigantic human being who in 3 games in 4 days has played how many minutes? He doesn't do that much. When has he done that?
Not early on in the season, though.
No, I mean, goodness gracious, guys. Come on, we lost to a good team. We act like they didn't have Tatum. If they had Tatum and Drew, they're still good. Like, some frogs came in and beat us, right? It is what it is. I got more of a problem with the Indiana loss.
I would argue, too, that Boston's, in terms of tempo, their style I actually think matches up better against the Sixers when Porzingis is not in the lineup because their tempo is up higher and they move up and down the court a lot faster. So I would argue that, I mean, missing Brown is one thing, but I actually think they're a better matchup for them against us when they don't have Porzingis in the lineup. That's just my opinion from what I've seen the first 2 games. They move the ball around a lot more. There's a lot more spacing, and they're a tough team. And honestly, I'm looking at this chat, and it's like nobody's watched any games beyond the last 2 games. That's like literally what it looks like. That they did not watch any of the other first 9 games except for the last 2 games.
Well, I mean, Josh, I could hear that. Another playmaking, like, guard, ball handler type outside of Maxey. Like, that's probably the smartest thing said tonight. You know what I mean? In terms of like looking for more or anything like that. So that's that's actually a real conversation to be had. And I'm sure they're having it. You know what I mean? Like, we know Daryl, I'm sure they're having it. So I don't mind people being mad. I hate coming off of losses. I sure as hell hate losing to goddamn Boston Celtics. Okay. And I sure as hell hate losing back-to-back nights to be one thing, or back-to-back nights at home. All right. Back-to-back nights at home is never ideal for me. Not a fan of it. Let's clean our lives up here. All right. But I'm also not going to start running guys out of town when this isn't the team it was a week ago when they were made the trade and they had all this influx of bench guys and they looked apart. So let's just relax for a second. I mean, I'm not making an excuse, but 3 games in 4 days, not ideal. Still can't go 1-2.
No.
You know what I mean? That's got to be a 2-1 though. I don't expect you to sweep it, but you better go 2-1.
You're right though, Tom. Even though tonight's loss is concerning and frustrating because it's Boston, giving up 135 or 140 or whatever last night to the Pacers, right, and letting Halliburton just shoot from wherever he wanted last night is the more concerning one, right? Because it starts to, when you start looking at the box scores, right, it starts to raise concerns about a defense. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. If we're looking at something early on to kind of be a little bit concerned on it, it would be, potentially the defense, right? And given 130 points to a Pacers team, almost on back-to-back nights. Because I think even when we beat them, I think they scored like 125 or something. But that, to your point, I think that is the more concerning loss. Although losing to Boston is the more frustrating loss because it's Boston.
Yeah, of course.
And I hope Tatum gets hit by a bus. Oh, wait, don't worry. The playoffs are coming.
And I'm seeing people.
We'll get a silver car and take care of that.
And we're seeing people in here talking about Zach LaVine. Like, Zach LaVine is not the answer. First of all, if I got anybody from the Bulls, it's the guy they're not trading, which is DeMar DeRozan, who's a much better fit for this team. Like, if I'm looking at potential options, like an OG Anunoby is a type of guy who I think would fit this team tremendously in terms of bringing production to the team. Tough guy. I think he's more of your ideal fit. The Zach LaVine thing, I think it's going to take opportunities out of guys like Maxey's hands.
Yeah, and Greg, into the defense, right? Like they're giving up 14th most points in basketball game. So not like crazy, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that because by just looking at the numbers, it looks worse than being middle of the pack, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, just the last 2 games, like essentially, right? Like the last 2, because they're 6th in rebounding, 3rd in defensive rebounding. They're 9th in steals, right? They actually are 28th in blocks because they have nobody really block shots outside of Embiid, right? They're 8th in field goal percentage. Okay,
That's different.
So there is
Mhm.
some things that aren't as bad as it's looked.
Sure.
Over on
and
that side.
you're right. That's one of them. I'm glad you brought that up because it definitely doesn't seem like that they're middle
No,
of
it
the
feels
pack.
worse.
Right?
It absolutely feels worse, right?
Yeah.
As it should. But yeah, because the last 3 games have been a little. Now 117, not a killer, right?
Right.
But
yeah.
126, 132. Detroit was 106 where it should be. I expect him to score 100.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, listen, I still think they're a good team. I don't know how good, right? But I still think they're a good team, guys. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't, I think this is a team that's going to excite you sometimes, and it might be a team that pisses you off sometimes. But I sure as hell would like to know what they are, as they're assembled. The guys that are supposed to be contributors being here and contributing. I would like to see how good they really are because I think they are. But Crumb, did you agree or disagree?
Oh, I disagree. I'm not getting worked up over games in November at this point. I mean, you guys touched on it, right? I thought the Pacers loss was a worse loss than the game tonight. And I thought it was very, very evident what you said, Tom, in terms of I felt like they just got worn down that last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And that can contribute to what you said, 3 games in 4 nights. That's a tough stretch in the NBA, running up and down the court for 48 minutes.
Bill, I mean, you're wrong again because I never said it wasn't 2 stars. Did I say that? Or did I say 2 contributors that you need weren't here? Didn't I say, if you listen, that Maxey and Embiid have to play better? They can't both score 20 and you expect to win a game? Did you remember hearing that? Did you miss or did you lose me? Did I go out? Did your sound go out on wherever you're watching from? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Nobody freaking listens. This is why this shit's hard to do sometimes. Because what did I say that it took more than 2 stars? When did I say that? At any point, we're 27 minutes into a goddamn show that has not been said. Has not been said, Bill. Like, I don't know if you guys are just all, you're all moles in here, just commenting in sometimes to to get things fired up. Because,
well, what Bill's doing is he's changing the agenda of what we had a conversation last week about how the NBA is gearing towards 2 max players. That you don't go and you can't be what the Clippers are trying to be this year, which, by the way, doesn't work by adding a bunch of star players who need the ball on their hands.
6, baby.
We said you have 2 guys that are your max guys. Those are your 2 focal points. Then you build the team around them with guys like a Tobias Harris and other role players. And that's what we talked about. So this whole thing that he's talking, I have no idea. He likes to create agendas from what people say on show.
Especially after Celtics wins.
It's a history.
Yeah, I said you don't need 3, 4, or 5 stars, Bill. Yes, you need 2 stars.
And that never changed even today.
No, didn't change at all.
Conversation I don't understand what he's saying because the conversation, Tommy hasn't swayed on this. The conversation we had last week is exactly what I just said. And you're making it sound like it was something else, Bill. That's not what the conversation we had last week was. It was about how the NBA is changing now. That you can only have 2 max guys. They're breaking up the super team era. It's done. So every team is going to have 2 max guys and role players. And at the end of the day, we talked about how last year Denver proved you don't need 3 superstar players on your team. You need 2 guys that night in and night out.
Those role players
go up and ball out.
Yeah,
and then you need your role players. And that's exactly what what the Sixers are working on building right now. So where does Tom's agenda changed on that? Because it hasn't.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I know. He's
not
going us on that.
Yeah, I like Paul. But if that's what we're
fuck it. Give Paul Reed the max, man. What's he do?
Get the deer on a hardwood floor max money.
Oh man.
I just said to make your roster complete on what the Sixers are trying to do.
Is this 2K, man?
It's not easy to not have like an Oubre.
No, 100%.
For a significant period of time in terms of your wing guys. That's all.
No,
not like excuses.
That's 2 of your that's what you have your that's probably 2 of your 5 through 7 players on your roster. I'm sorry, 6 through 8 players off your roster, right? When you talk about a short bench, those are 2 of the first names you're going to mention right away.
Exactly.
And
sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
No, I'm just pulling up the Kelly Oubre. In the last 10 games for Kelly Oubre, he's averaging 16 points per game for Kelly Oubre. That's a big loss, dude.
Yeah.
16 points, and you're losing that, and it's been what? He's been out for what? 3 games now? 3 or 4 games now?
Yeah, 3 games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing
The
16
Maxey
points,
50
man.
was the first one, yeah. No, and if you look across to like tonight's game, right? You look across, Boston was down, Brown and Porzingis as well, where they got really good contributions from Cornette and Derek White. Derek White took over the game in that fourth quarter. Who knows if like even one of those guys playing for Boston gives White that freedom, in that period of time to kind of do what he did. He completely took over that game in that fourth quarter. And that's sort of the difference for tonight was the Boston guys stepped up in their opportunity, and outside of Springer and Reed, the Sixers guys who got the opportunity with minutes didn't step up.
This chat is crazy tonight.
Bill, you just were giving us credit like 5 days ago. So get a goddamn clue. You know what I mean? That's all I can say to you. Now you're going to say your team sucks. Okay.
Celtics win tonight. He comes flying in.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Bill? You know what's funny? If Porzingis plays, is Horford on the court?
That's a good question.
So you think that's going to work out well for you? If he's got
another one, I completely forgot about that. Not only White but Horford, right? I mean, he started tonight, but yeah, he's been off the bench. Like it's the NBA in November.
This is Bill's shtick. He comes in with the hot takes. He tries to get everybody riled up. Half the shit, or more than half the shit he says, is ridiculous.
And pulls from shows a week ago when it was a completely different mindset, right?
Yeah, we want to start going back.
A week or 2 weeks ago when you guys were on an 8-game win streak,
Yeah.
Everybody's putting tents on Broad Street. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, everybody's
man.
already greasing poles. Relax. Things change.
Thoughts on Jordan Clarkson, guys?
I think a guy like Clarkson would be key. You know what I mean? A guy that is can handle the ball. For those second team. Because that's what he did a lot of his career so far. He's led his team's second team offense, right, and been able to keep the game in hand, right. And so I think you add him, to us, and I think he fits really good as a role player. What's funny, Chrome, to your point, right? You mentioned earlier about the bench and how feeble they looked. I thought in the first half, though, they looked great. But that was when Reed and Springer were giving us good minutes.
That was only 2 guys.
You're right. And they were teamed up with Maxey and Harris, right? And at that point, that's when those guys start cooking a little bit, right? But through that first half, they actually got that game back into control because it went down big early. Then they kind of got it back in. Springer was excellent tonight, I thought.
He was exactly the push you needed that last 4 or 5 minutes of that second.
Yeah, for sure.
To get them back into the game. But, yeah, it's just I wouldn't expect zeros across the board, goose eggs across the board from the bench every night. That was, obviously against Boston, that's the wrong time for that to happen. But, listen, these games happen. It's early in the year. It's crazy to get too high or too low on anything right now. And, Bill down there talking about, that we're not the Celtics or the Bucks. Nobody claimed we are yet. We might be. We might be on that level, but we're not there. Nobody's claimed that.
Teams react differently to different things, right? I mean, and we saw it the first few games without James, and it felt like freedom. And now, all right, that's fine. Now that your Fuhrer is going away, and now we got to get back to playing basketball again, right? You know what I mean? You're gonna get punched in the face. It's the NBA. It's been said a lot, but 3 games, 4 nights, back to back. I don't care if they're home or not. Yeah, they're tough games, right? It's everyone's good obviously in the NBA, right? And Boston's bench took advantage of it, of their opportunity, and like I said, the Sixers didn't.
I just think for the people that are just overreacting to everything, it's kind of one of those boring nights to everybody, wants to get into the feels about things and, but we're 11 games in. 11 games in, like I said, we're 11 games in. You're 8-3 and 8-3 as a record as a whole, second in the East. You still got to feel good about yourself. And at the fact that, and Joel was playing these minutes to where, and Tommy said at the beginning of the show, when was the last time Joel has been playing these type of minutes, even to start the year, right? Because usually to start the year, they put him on that little, quotations, minute restrictions, so, and let him groove. But it seems like he just, they just let the wheel, let him just do whatever he wants and gave him the keys and made, let him make up his own mind when he's ready to come out and stuff like that, which is awesome to see. And that's another thing too for the Sixers tonight.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough tonight.
That's all.
And listen, Ralph,
and
you know what? Oh, sorry, Greg, but like,
no,
Ralph,
you're good.
You know what? Like, I like that he's doing this. I like that they're doing this as a staff because that just creates better endurance to me. It doesn't create the opposite effect to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense? Right? When we talk to Mitch Crum about pitching, right? Like I tell my players all the time, like, yeah, you don't want to pitch every day, but you should be doing something arm-wise daily.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like you walk daily. You should do that daily. I'm not telling you should play basketball every night, but you should play as many games as you can leading up to a postseason. Because in my opinion, I think that will strengthen your body and your endurance for the postseason. I don't think it always works the opposite. Doesn't mean you don't miss 10 games, right? It just means 20, right? Not 20, right? Like I can miss like 8 to 10. And I think that's the path they're on with it, right? Is that like 8 to 10 mark in the right spots throughout the year? There's also breaks throughout this year like there isn't before because you have the break that comes up in the in-season tournament if you're not in it. That is for every other team besides 2. Like the championship of it.
Yeah, I think they have like 3 to 4 off days.
Yeah.
If you're not in the championship game.
If you're not in the championship
like
side.
Yeah.
So it's like there's building more off days into the schedule. So to me, like I don't have a problem with this at all.
No.
Right? Not at all. Like play him. If you're healthy, play. And Mr. Rudy, he might be glass. He's been Mr. Glass, right? In the most important times. But like, I'm not gonna 11 games in just be like, all right, we know how this is going to end. It may end that way, but it's a different team now. It's different supporting cast. So I want to see it through another year. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll have the conversation at the end of the year like we always do, and we'll see where we go with it. I'm not happy at all.
Well, I think it's you brought up some of the conversations we had on Here's the Thing with Mitch, and to that point, that kind of piggyback off of that. The one thing we talked about, right, where, should pitchers get rest and things like that? And he said, no, it's like the last thing you want to do because you're going to have periods where you're going to have dead arm at certain points in the year. But if you pitch through it, you build up your conditioning and you get yourself ready to go so you can pitch through anything. It's kind of the same thing here, right? Like you said, we use our legs every day. So if I go running, do I not use my legs for a couple of days until the next time I go running? No, it's not exactly how it works. You go out, you condition yourself more and more. Same thing with these guys, right? It's still early in the year too. Their conditioning is going to improve as the season goes through. And then you see where you're at. I think you guys, around Christmas time, first of the year is where I start to gauge where's this team is really at. When about a month before the All-Star break, because then you start talking trade deadline. Are you buyers or sellers? I mean, this team's not going to be a seller, but you start gauging on, is it worth going out and getting that extra piece and giving up the assets to go and get it? Or is it, we play it out through the end of the year? That's where I start gauging. But it's egregious to be upset this early in the year. And now we're talking about trading Joe, who, aside from the last 2 nights, has been phenomenal. Literally playing an MVP level, playing higher than even a Giannis has been. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that's why I said, has anybody watched anything before the last 2 games? Because it feels like they haven't.
No, I feel like some have it, and, like, again, I get some people, being frustrated because, again, you don't like losing 2 games like this.
I do want to say to this here. So I see Jordan Clarkson, free agent, Anunoby, free agent. The one thing is the free agent class is not very good. It's not anything astronomical. So if they do go out and get an asset, say mid-season this year, I think that is their kind of off-season for next year, and they're going to try to sign whoever it is because the free agent class is not phenomenal next year. So, Jordan Clarkson being a free agent, I don't know, but if you go out and get somebody like that to contribute to this team, I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a rental player either.
Yeah, and especially with Tobias coming off the books as well next year, it's going to open up a lot more space to work with when the offseason does come. So
they got a lot of money to play around with next year. That's why this year's extremely intriguing, right?
Yep.
When you look at it from the picks that you got back and the players you got in and saying, okay, well, now I have a lot more flexibility, not only to go do something if I wanted to, that I felt would make this team better, etc. Right? It gives me some of that flexibility throughout this year. And then, next year, like, oh, okay, well, we can go a lot of different directions. Like if they don't, right. If Joe comes up small again and they think that it's the best time to get a king's ransom back, right? Then maybe you do it and you give the keys to Tyrese, right? And
you also got to extend Tyrese as well at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe got that flexibility to play in that extension.
No, you're right, Frank. And maybe it's time, and then maybe it is time to move on from Joe. I don't know, right? Like if you get that Knicks deal back, I might say let's go ahead and do it. Right. That deal's still on the table with like 4 firsts and Barrett and just some guys, but it's like whatever. I'll take all that back then. You give me one young player that I think can play, right? If the Sixers think highly enough of Barrett, you know what I mean? I don't watch enough Knick games to like tell you if he's the guy, right? But like I got no problem with a Maxey and somebody else, right? You know what I mean? And a boatload of picks coming up and flexibility money wise, and if that's where it gets to, right? If that's where it came to, I don't want to talk about that to that point. I don't want to have that conversation right now because if you think he's getting dealt right now, you're just a bunch of idiots or just Mr. Rudy Poo is. So let's just let this sit. Friday's a big one. Okay, we'll see a big one in terms of just a response. Okay, and we'll see where this team goes. And then the other side is getting a couple guys back, right? But I do like the chance of Jaden Springer getting minutes. I think that's important. If he can become a piece for this basketball team this year in some fashion, with a guy who can defend, looks like he defends well, and that's huge in terms of guard play. I thought he was up in shorts tonight.
No, it was, but it's funny. You can tell he hasn't played a lot because my man was huffing during that halftime interview. You can tell he might be in really good shape, but his game shape, he was huffing during that interview.
Would somebody say they don't believe in Tobias? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, listen, it's going to be this type of night with some, right?
So the thing with, listen, Tobias Harris is the least of their worries. He's been one of their most productive players, literally from starting. Again, has anybody watched before the last game? That's like a before the last game. And honestly, he played well tonight.
Rich, we just beat him, though. So I don't know why we can't.
Last week you just beat him by 3 last week.
That was a gift, apparently. Gift.
Oh, okay. But no, Rich.
The NBA just hands out gifts.
Rich, I know Horford has had the best of Embiid per se. But that doesn't mean we're guaranteed to lose to him. And we were the same team that took him to 7 last year. So we went 7 with them. So to act like, and Bill said you suck in this and that and a third, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying, Bill. But if we suck, what are you? You know what I mean? We gifted you a series because nobody wanted to show up anymore. Because the loser just stopped playing, right? And Joel was whatever, not good enough. So we took you to 7 on those terms.
Yeah.
Okay. So come on. This is the league of inches too, per se, right? This is the league of inches too. So all these teams are right in that conversation when you talk about 5 teams in the East. 5 of those teams you could be playing some conference, and are you shocked at the Eastern Conference Finals? No, right? But any one of those 5 teams could be playing an NBA Finals. Would you be shocked?
No, not
No. That's all I'm saying. We're right there. So let's see how this turns around. But on the other side, it's time. It's time for the revenge tour. Eagles, Chiefs, Monday Night Football this
Big
Monday.
Big one.
Huge one. Huge one. Another statement one, Ralphie.
Yep.
Another statement game. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick time out here. And on the other side, we will talk Eagles, Chiefs. And you can still vent about the Sixers if you need to. You know what I mean? We're not going to be mad at you. We're not going to yell and scream at you. So get whatever you need to continue to get off your chest. And if you have some positives about the Sixers in any fashion, that'll be really welcomed. Okay? Really welcome tonight here on A2D Wednesday nights. Only on A2D Radio. We'll be right back.
What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat John. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Yo, we back. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights. If you just joined us, we were talking Sixers Celtics post game. You know, are you highly concerned after back-to-back losses? Was sort of where we got to, and then it went off the rails, as expected here in Philadelphia, as we do. But we're going to segue, and we're going to talk some Eagles, Chiefs, Monday Night Football, baby. Give you players of the game, the revenge game, like I'm going to continue to say, even though it's a regular season game, and a big-time another statement game for the Eagles, right? A huge statement game. We know Andy off of buys. We do. Boy, do we know Andy off of buys, right? Nobody knows it better than we do. Our Eagles conversation is brought to you by our good friends over at Baggio's Bread. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs. You mentioned A2D Radio, get 10% off your in-store purchase. Like I always say, if you're in the Mount Laurel area, that surrounding area, go to Baggio's, baby. If you're in the Ardmore, Westchester area, stop by our good friends over at Carlino's. And if you just want a Brian Dawkins hat, you can use code Philly for 15% off your order at hats.com for any hat you want. But if you want the hat he wore in his Hall of Fame induction, you can get that. Not the exact hat, but the same. Like, you're not wearing it off his head. Just to confirm that. Right? He's not. But you go, yeah, that's all it is. You know what I mean? You get the hat off his head and you get 50% off of it. No, we're not. B-Dog, thank God, is not at that point, right? There's nowhere near that point.
Yeah.
We're giving the hat away. But yeah, go check out all their lines of hats. Anything you like. Make sure you use code Philly. All right? So, Eagles, Chiefs, boys. Prediction time, score prediction. And then we got to give our player to game predictions too. And, I don't even know. Might be up to like 1,000. But I think it's at least 300 if somebody nails this score. Because it has not been done yet. Not been done yet for the Philadelphia Eagles. So who's got it in them tonight? And then your tiebreaker, if it comes down to an offensive defensive player of the game. Okay, stats are not required, right? Just a player of the game. But if you want to drop in some numbers, drop them in, baby. Let's talk about Don. Shut your mouth. Shut your damn mouth. I'm talking ties. All right, knock it off. All right, so score, man. This is weird, right? Because the Chiefs have not been playing up to their level offensively,
and they're coming off of a bye as well, right?
They're coming off a bye. And Andy's very good off a bye. I think they would get better, but they don't have the outside juice, right? They're missing some outside juice. And to be honest with you, we're missing outside juice too because our guys are a little long in the tooth, right? Our corner. So this might be like the perfect matchup for what the doctor ordered for us defensively. You know what I mean? This might be like wide receiver cornerback matchups. Now, tight end, not so much what the doctor ordered against our tight ends, but I think the addition will really come out with Kevin Byard this week. I think you're going to see a different Kevin Byard, a more comfortable Kevin Byard in the system here, and a guy who's played the Chiefs, enough times too. And you might see him sometimes against Kevin Byard. So I think our linebackers are going to play better this week, and I do think their defense is good, right? The Chiefs defense is good, but we scored more against a defense that wasn't even as good. Now, that was at a neutral place. This is an Arrowhead, not the easiest place to play, but we're battle tested, man. This ain't some, it ain't some fraud walking into town. So we're absolutely battle tested. So I'm excited for the matchup period. For my respect for Andy and Mahomes, sure, but I'm trying to go down there and make a statement around the league. Like, yo, maybe you don't know we're 8-1, but we're just gonna go. We're gonna go smack somebody and let the world know. Let everybody who wasn't paying attention know.
Everybody else is the best team in the NFL.
Oh yeah, everybody's power rankings has somebody besides the Philadelphia Eagles because this doesn't matter to them. But I'm gonna go.
By the way, before you go, Tommy, I just want to updated line 3 and 45.5. I know Sunday it was 2.5. And 46. So I think that the total's coming down and the spread's going up a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think what I had. I want to say I had like either 31, like 31-28.
Yeah, you were in that range, yeah.
Or, I might even lower that to like a 27-24 Eagles, somewhere in that. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at a 3-point game. So, my official one will come out, but I'm more to the 27-24 away, a little bit away from the 31-28. If you're asking me today, so it's going down a little bit for both teams per se. I think we're going to score. I just don't. I'm not going to go in and blow them out. So we can just get that out. But could you win a game 31-21? Yeah, they could. They could. I could see it turning into that. I could see that. The Eagles end up winning by 10. I guess I could see the Chiefs winning by 10, but I just don't know how unless, again, we're turning the football over. So what do you guys got score-wise?
And it does look like Miss Taylor will be in attendance, apparently.
Oh, nice.
So we'll probably expect a huge Travis Kelce game then because Travis does well when Taylor's there. So,
which is strange because she's got a concert either the next night or the night after that. So
yeah.
She's racking up those frequent flyer G6 miles.
I wish she was still in South America for her tour.
For me, I'm gonna go 31-28 Birds. I think this has a making of to be somewhat of a shootout in regards of both teams can get off to both hot starts. Obviously, Andy coming off the bye. We know how that works here in the city of Philadelphia with Andy coming off the bye. And especially the Eagles too. It seems like for the past couple of years now, when the Eagles come off the bye, they've been still a pretty damn good football team. So I'm gonna go 31-28 Birds. And we get revenge in Arrowhead. Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Because I could see it being I could see it being a blowout either way. Maybe not so much the Chiefs way. Maybe not so much the Chiefs way. But Tommy, as you I'm glad you kind of went back on it too, because I don't think the Chiefs are the same on offense. Like, I don't think they're a juggernaut. I think what we've seen the last few weeks, now granted, they score more than 9 points and 12 points a game, but I think what we've seen is more what they really are, because they don't have, outside of Travis, at least to throw the ball to, they don't have anybody else. Where they make it up is where Patty gets special, right? When Patty gets out of the pocket, extend plays, right, Ralph? Absolutely, Ralph. And that's where these guys kind of open up. But Tommy, to alluding to your point, I think this might be a great matchup for our cornerbacks and our safeties. I'm going to go 28-17. Eagles.
Okay.
Wow, love it. Love it.
Hell yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, Martian, she's not from Philly, but she's from Pennsylvania.
She's from
or something like that.
Yeah, she's from Berks County.
Yeah.
Some Amish, please.
She's Amish. We're going to spread that. We'll spread that around.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Taylor loves to churn the butter.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, they have no receivers. So
I have the Birds here 30-25. I think you might see a couple 2-point conversions in this game. I think the Birds pull this one out.
25. Nice score. Score scrabble there, buddy.
Yeah,
30-25.
Change it up a little bit. See some conversions here, opportunities for guys. And I think too, I like Rashee Rice. I think he's a little bit of a player. He's the only other option outside.
Correct. Yep.
I think a lot's going to depend too on
that Sky Moore hype was fun, wasn't it?
Oh man,
yeah,
what a bomb that was. What's Pacheco going to do in this game as well? I think that's something you have to look out for, because he's one of those guys who he could rip one off for a lot of yards and create.
Well, we saw that in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
we saw that in the Super Bowl.
One or two really big plays from him. So you got to make sure you kind of contain that. But again, even though our secondary isn't the same as what it was last year, I feel like they're really anemic in their passing game outside of Kelce. So, you're not going to stop them, but if you can contain them, then you really give yourself a real legitimate shot to win this game. And hopefully Jaylen, 2 weeks now, hopefully that knee's a little bit better shape now. He's going to be able to move around a little bit better and
definitely can't hurt, right?
No, and extend some plays, because I do think he's going to need to with obviously guys like Chris Jones coming after him. So, I think pass protection from the running backs is going to be really key in this to give Jalen a little bit more time, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not calling him a player of the game. It wouldn't shock me if we see Julio have a little bit more of a presence in this ball game as well.
Yeah, well, no Dallas got it. I could absolutely see that in different types of formations.
Yes.
I think, our run, we almost would rather you try to run against us than throw. So,
Agreed.
That plays, I know somebody said that in the chat too, but that plays to our hands too. I think we're really good run defense. So, so they become limited when they face certain teams, right? In a way, Kansas City, when you face teams like us, it's going to be hard to run the football, and especially that we're loading boxes on you too, in ways, right? Because you're trying to contain Mahomes, obviously, because he makes so many plays ad lib, right? That's where Mahomes beats you, right? That's usually how he beats you, whoever he plays. He's going to make some ad lib plays throughout a game that you're like, dude, he got away from all those guys.
Yeah.
So, there ain't no turf gate this week on Monday night.
Oh, there better not be.
Ain't no grass gate, grass clipping gate, right? Yeah. I mean, so here's time to say that, that was a little flukish, right? Here's your time. And nobody's making excuses here, right? But here's your time as players, right? Because I know guys probably weren't happy, and I get it. But here's your time.
Yeah, Reddick, Sweat, right?
Yeah, and go kick their ass up front. Go kick their ass. And listen, I think mostly our entire defense has played really well, outside of our linebackers covering and our corners a little old. So Frank, what was your prediction?
I had a tough one thinking about this. Man. I think this could go either way for both teams. And the last time we won at Arrowhead Stadium was in 2005. We almost got them the last time. We almost got them last time we were in Arrowhead. It was close, and I said it on some programming that that team that almost won in Arrowhead was going to be special, and that special team won a Super Bowl. I think we get the job done in Arrowhead. I think Eagles win. I'm going to go 30. I'm going to go
25.
30-28.
30-28. All right. A little different, a little 2-point game. Yo, hold on real quick. Ridge, you can't get like that's a different game. And we talk about Sam Howell. All right. And like they have way better skill position players on the outside of tight end. You know what I mean? So, and they lost us both times. So that's cute. You know what I mean? That's cute to me. You beat him both times. So what do I care what Sam Howell did? You know, I mean, with all due respect to everybody, like I love comments, but what do I give a shit what Sam Howell did? Sam Howell, it's a different game. It's a different week. It's a different team, different matchups. It's all changes. Not what somebody else did to you, right? It's how you match up against the team you're playing. That's what it is. You know, we match up good against the Chiefs, and they seem to match up good against us when you look at the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what this year entails. Like we're all predicting. We're saying close outside of Greg, and he's still close. You know, that's not a blowout. But it might feel that way because it's the Chiefs, right?
People keep talking about Sam Howell too. Like Sam Howell's kind of proven he's a little bit of a ball player on a team that stinks. I think people are really not giving that kid enough credit for how good he's kind of proven that he is, despite the fact that he's on the turf 10 times a game and has to, take a little bit more risks in terms of throwing the football than most teams do because he gets no time back there. It's proven to be a little bit of a ball player. I mean,
at one point he was the number one consensus overall pick at one point in his career, North Carolina.
Washington,
he had a bad senior year, which knocked him down. But he can throw it a little bit.
Well, remember, it was between him and Spencer Rattler. Remember that, like that 1 year,
Rattler.
Yeah, remember that?
Rattler.
That quarterback class, everyone was like, "Oh, it's either him or Spencer."
I think who in that class, like Keaton Slovis, like
yeah. Bill, like you start with Byard. You start with, if you're going man, you're starting with Byard, and you're starting like with a bracket on him, right? A little bit, and then if you're going zone, you're just rolling your zone more catered to, again, bracketing him over the middle, on the edge, and over top in a way, because you're trying to do everything you can, obviously, to make somebody else beat you. You know, if somebody else beats you tonight, go ahead. Now you're now leaving guys one-on-one at times, as you need to be able to do those types of things. And the hard part about the Chiefs is that's all good, but their quarterback makes so many plays
until Patty breaks the pocket.
Yeah, so it's like that's all cute. You can bracket all day. You can do all these cute things, but their relationship is what separates them, right? Them knowing each other that well at this point is what allows them to win the kind of games they continue to win, where guys go and there's turnover and everything else, right? Give me 2 tackles that can play and give me a tight end like that for, give me 2 tackles alongside those 2 guys and you go to work, right? And that's sort of how they're built, right? You go to work after that. And it's, again, not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to need safety help. And one of the key things with Travis Kelce that makes him so difficult is tackling. This team's going to have to tackle because his big thing is yards after the catch. So that's what they need to contain. So you're going to need that help from your secondary, from your safety position to be able to contain some of that. So however you want to do it, whether it's double teaming, however you're going to end up doing it, you just that's going to be the main thing is controlling his yards after the catch.
Tom, you hit on the head. You're not going to ever shut him down because of what Patty does outside the pocket, right?
Exactly.
You could have the greatest coin. You could have prime Charles Woodson on him, and he's still going to put 6 for 80 up on anybody.
Yeah, and you know what, Greg? The funny thing is, it's like, I was going to say that, like 7 for 90 in a touch. Like, it's almost like you go in expecting that. You know, you just can't get beat by 3 TDs. You can't get beat for 15 for 150, right? Like you just can't get smacked with it. Like guys are going to do what guys do in this league, right? It's like, if I can hold AJ Brown for 5 and 70 and no touch, well, I mean, it's still a productive game. but you beat us. It makes sense. So it's like it's all in perspective, But if a guy goes for 10 and 130 and you got 2 touchies, right? Well, okay. I mean, you must not have a good enough team. I'm saying like the good teams, they're probably winning that Sunday, Monday, Thursday, unless you're Dallas. But screw the Cowboys.
But you could look at what we did to Tyreek as a game plan as to what you could do to Travis, right? We didn't let Tyreek get behind us very often, right? We kept Tyreek in front of us, and to your point, Chrome, when he did catch the ball, we tackled, right? You made Tyreek 11 for 90, right? He had to catch 11 balls to get 90 yards. Yeah, he got a tutty, but that's a win for us.
Yeah, and that's what Travis is going to do, right? He's going to run those 6, 7, 8 yard routes. That's fine. But when he starts turning 6 and 7, 8 yard routes into 17, 18, 19, 20 yard gains, that's where you're done. It's over. So if you can contain that, you're good. Then it's he's not going to be able to do enough by just doing, getting 6 and 7 and 8 yard routes to beat you. It's everybody else who's going to have to contribute. And that's where, again, you take your shots and letting somebody else beat you.
Yeah, and listen, Reds, I don't think our defense has been great, but they're not trash. This isn't a trash defense by any stretch, right? You got some guys that aren't playing up the contracts or aren't playing up to the level we expected, and you've had a lot of like turnover per se at your safety and your nickel corner. I think that's where it's looking like it's trash, right? Where I think when you get some guys back there, and now you got Blankenship and Byard where they're going to be, and hopefully they both stay on the field, right? And then once you get the nickel guy cover situated, like you are who you are. Like I think they're going to be good. I do. I don't think they're going to be like this Achilles heel of us, right? And I think the more you let 2 linebackers play together, which they're obviously going to be for a long time now, right? With Morrow and Cunningham, I think we might see some benefits from that. And not a shot at Kobe. I just think we'll see some benefits because Morrow played well. Again, I was shocked he got cut. This is a guy who walked in with like 90-something tackles last year. And we wanted a team to just be, not looking for linebackers, right? Where we were situated. Rez, no, I called you Rez. Oh, RJ is live.
Oh, that makes sense now.
All right.
I see it.
Yeah. We're going to get in players of the game in 1 sec. Bill, I think this is the week to take field goals if you can get them. Take all the guaranteed points. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Bill. Like when you don't, because you're not expecting them to drop 30 on you, right? You're not going in thinking that. You don't have to keep up with them offensively. They got to keep up with you. So I couldn't agree more. This is a week where you got to go in thinking, and every week's different, right? But this is a week where you got to think like, hey, offensively, they're not going to keep up with us. Dallas, hey, they're going to score, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the matchups dictate that for sure.
And real quick, Tommy, before we get to the players, I mean, I know again, perception, and our eyes are telling us a lot differently than what is real, right? It's like, like I was talking about the Sixers defense. Then you brought up those stats in their middle of the pack. The secondary, yes, got torched the last couple of weeks, but against Dallas, we only gave up 6 points in the second half. Now, again, it doesn't matter how it gets done. That's at the end of the day. They only gave up 6 points, right? And same thing, like we have questions about, especially early on, maybe not so much anymore, but Brian Johnson and the play calling. You look up, they're scoring 30 every game.
Yeah.
Or they're right there. So I get it. Our eyes are telling us something different, but they're making the plays when we need to, and that's all that matters in the NFL.
Oh, for sure. And Kaiser says, Roby and Justin Evans coming back. Yep.
Yeah.
So definitely makes you deeper. All right. So players of the game.
Big one, by the way. Roby coming back.
Yeah.
Established slot corner. We need that because as much as we've tried to experiment with these other situations, you get Bradbury back in a situation he's comfortable with. Sidney Brown's playing where he's supposed to be at. This is the best case scenario for them, and at the right time. This is the week to have him back.
Yeah, for sure. And you get Juergens back, like Conball's saying too. So that's big. It's big, especially in the run game, like he was saying as well. So let's go get it. We should be well rested, and our offense, you would hope, is clicking coming out of a bye. like we started to. So, offensive player of the game. I'm just going to keep running my doggy out there, Devonta. Goes over 100. Goes over 100. Give me 2 TDs in this one from him.
Let's go.
Give me a 2-piece from him. What do you guys got?
I'm going to go, for mine, I'm going to go DeAndre Swift.
Bastard.
2 touchdowns.
Mother, father, sister, brother.
I like
2
it.
TDs.
Start him in fantasy. RB1.
I will. I kind of have the same feeling Chrome had earlier, so I will actually take him as player of the game. I want to go Julio. I think Julio finds his way into the end zone again.
Okay.
Took mine.
Well, you said you weren't going to take him, so you're like, oh, he might not
I know,
be
but
player
then
of
I
the
changed
game
my mind as
worthy.
we were talking. That's all right.
No, but I mentioned it, Chrome, kind of to your point, right? I mentioned it as soon as the Goddard injury got, kind of happened, that you might see an increased package of at least passing downs, because we know he can't block anybody, right? But at least passing downs and passing packages, you might see increase. So let's get him in the end zone again.
Let's get 2 tutties from him.
Oh, hey, you ain't gonna mess around with me there.
I'm going with the quarterback. I think this is a revenge game now for Jaylen coming back off a bye week. I'm going with the quarterback. I think Jaylen has a really big game here. I think 0 turnovers in this ball game. 2 tutties and a rushing TD. 2 tutties passing and a rushing TD. And he throws for let's say at least over 230.
Okay.
Frank, you're all perplexed and like the
I
biggest.
know, because I want to go with DeAndre Swift, but that was taken. I want to go with Jalen Hurts, but that was taken. I mean, I might as well take Swole Batman as my player of the game.
There you go.
I could go Swole Batman, or we could take in Albert Okwuegbunam. Like, come on.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, but give me Swole Batman as my offensive player of the game.
I mean, you can't go wrong with him.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad decision.
Yeah.
Really got backed into that one. The guy who's basically been the best player on the team all
Pretty
season.
much.
All year.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right,
Clearly
defense.
in the conversation.
Yeah, as a wide receiver, right? As a wide receiver, which is crazy. All right, defensive player of the game. Well, I guess we got to go to the guy who's been on fire, in terms of that, and that's Hassan Reddick. Mm-hmm. He's been great. So give me him for 2 sacks versus Mahomes this week.
Oh, I'd love that.
And he almost took him out in the Super Bowl. So
revenge game,
and you don't have to deal that Lord Voldemort looking mofo and Jonathan Gannon. So I have all my faith in the defense.
I definitely have more faith than we did before, Frank. I agree with that.
RJ, I'm more scared of 3rd and 25 than I am 3rd and 2. I hear you.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah.
Think like you're more nervous for a 3rd and 25 than you are for 3rd and 2. It's insane. It's crazy.
Keys, Jack Stoll could shock some people. He's got a great mullet going. Who you got, Ralph? Where Frank, you going? You going first this time, Frank?
You go, Frank. Yeah, you go, Frank.
Oh, geez. You know what? Give me the guy who is currently well in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Give me Jalen Carter.
Okay. That's a good pick. For my defensive player of the game, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna go Nicholas Morrow. Nicholas Morrow with a pick.
Stay home. Is he staying with you?
If he wants to move in, we don't got that much space over here. You know what I mean? If he wants to leave
kick the dog out. Just kick the dog out of the bed, right?
He wants to leave his mansion and come down to a little ranch house. It is what it is. Whatever you want to do.
It's not for everybody.
Don't go to the acquired lifestyle.
I'm gonna go Nicholas Morrow for player of the game.
I'll go with my bold prediction. Give me Reed Blankenship for a picky.
Nice.
Ed Reed Blankenship. Ooh.
Blankenship with a picky. Okay. Look at us.
I'm sticking with my theme here. Going another revenge here. He's playing in his proper position. I think having Roby there is going to be really helpful. I'm going James Bradbury, making up for that Super Bowl.
Wow.
All right.
Oh,
I think we're getting 2 picks from James Bradbury.
The Super Bowl hold.
he's got to see the football first. He's got to see the football to get 1, let alone 2.
I'm going Bradbury, 2 picks.
Oh, we're doing 2.
Wow. It's getting aggressive.
I'm going bold. Let's go. Let's roll with it.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with going bold right here. Certain things I think is you need to go bold. That's a bold one for sure. But I like it. I like it, Cromer. I do.
Let's go win Monday night, man. Revenge game.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's go 9-1.
I do.
Yeah,
think,
Swoopy.
I think Reed's going to have a really big game in this game too.
I can see Reed having a big game. Everybody keeps saying that. You know, he's been good, right? He's been good. But as a defense, we haven't taken the ball away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, nobody's really – that's why it's, like, looks worse than it is. You know, if we can start taking the ball away, we're going to be in way better shape. So, oh, hey, puppy.
That's why I'm really –
He heard me get ready to kick him out. He's like, I'm going to claim my spot.
That's why I'm really intrigued to see the effects of having Roby and an extra week to learn the playbook for Kevin Byard, because if those 2 guys can kind of lock in and solidify those 2 positions, I think you're going to see a lot more consistency defensively. As long as guys stay healthy, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I hate to say it, but at this point we definitely missed CJ/GJ a little bit here. So let Byard kind of lock that in. And
he was hurt at this point last year. What good did he do for us? He was hurt half the year.
Yeah, but listen, when he was on the field,
he's hurt right now for Detroit.
Right, but when he was on the field, he made him. I think they all made each other better, but the combination of him, Bradbury, and Slay was tremendous.
Yeah, that's over. We're done. We're 10 weeks into the year.
Well, that's why just insert Kevin Byard now. Have Roby,
absolutely.
Insert Roby where.
I mean, if the Sixers are done after 11 games, why can't the Eagles be done after 11 games?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, with the rate on course,
trade,
right?
Trade Jaylen, both Jaylens.
Yeah, trade Jaylen.
Start it over.
I can see it now.
Hire back Richie Kotite to be the head coach. Fire Sirianni.
As long as the starter jackets come back into play.
Well, make sure you bring in Ray Roach for a year just to motivate.
Yeah.
Put Howie back in the closet. You know.
I mean, it's truly amazing.
Howie, we'll bring you back again.
Yeah.
Remove you from your role for a year or 2 and bring you back.
Listen, I've never seen a worse 8-1 team in my life.
Yeah.
Like in Philadelphia. Like I've never, like, you know what I mean? Where the fan base is like, I don't know. It's like the sky's falling. You're 8-1.
Yeah, it's not just the fan base though. You know, you mentioned it earlier. Me and Meanie talked about it the other day. You know, when you look at power rankings, the Eagles are constantly at number 2. And they find reasons to shuffle teams in and out. But they never, like, this is the first week I saw Stephen A. give the Eagles the credit of putting him at the number 1 spot. He's the only one. Everybody else continues to shift them out. Mm-hmm. And they're finding reasons to put teams that are scuffling to get to 6-3 over the team that's 8-1. And they haven't, and I said it earlier or the other day, and I'll say it again. They have not played their best football by any means. You know, the Miami game was pretty close, and probably the Rams game, but they have definitely not played their best football, and they are still finding ways to win games. The one thing they do is they play their best football at the most important times in the football game when you need a play. Yes. And honestly, at the end of the day, you can win championships that way.
That's all that matters. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Fox ended their post-game show on Sunday talking about the Ravens being the best team in the NFL. And for 3 quarters, they looked like it.
And
they blew the game. They blew the game. They blew the game.
Well,
you're up 31-17 with 8 minutes left to go in the 4th. You blew it.
Well, listen, I know Joe was hurt, but the Bengals lost 3 in a row. They won 4 in a row, and all of a sudden they were the best team in football.
Yeah.
Now they can't crack a team's top 5. But the Eagles can't make it to 1. And they're 8-1.
No, you can't make it up. Can't make it up. Any closing thoughts, opinions?
Let's just go win this Monday night game, man. Really stamp it to the national media that we should be number one every single week.
Yep.
Let's do it. Revenge game, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I
Anybody
mean,
else?
at the end of the day, it's a revenge game. You know, doesn't take away the fact that we didn't win a championship last year. However, you know, I look at this more of this is a really big, important game for them to win, not because it's a Super Bowl that they lost last year, but the Chiefs are considered the NFL's measuring stick.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jalen can go out and have a huge game again against the Chiefs, and if this team can come out and manage to pull out a victory this week,
And Arrowhead.
Nobody can deny who the best team in the league is.
Yep.
There's no denying it going forward. So,
Especially if you go into Arrowhead and win in conventional fashion, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think you just get a win there. It definitely does, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, that's like almost like it should be common sense, right? But nothing is, right? You know, the Cowboys get crowned this week against the Giants,
Yeah.
right? And you still got to go. You still got to go beat somebody up. You know what I mean? And they did. So you go take care of business. But it's like, well, we just beat that team. Why is all the excitement on that, right? And it just doesn't make sense. You know, we beat the Dolphins, who were considered one of the top echelon teams,
High power and
right?
offense, right?
Yeah.
Shut them down at home. Completely
Yep.
shut down that offense.
Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, what you need to do. And guess what? I don't care about it. Keep having us 2 or 3 or 4, right? I don't need to be in your number 1. Because I feel like the time I get in there is the time I'm going to be working my way out, right? So
I want to be number 1 at the end of the year, Tommy. That's where you're headed, right?
yeah, that's where I'm headed.
I want to be that. I want to be back on the podium. I don't care about week 10, 11, 15. Who's number 1? I don't care. Just as long as I'm back in Vegas, and we have a shot to win it and win it. You know what I mean? That's all that matters.
Couldn't agree more. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? That's exactly where I'm at.
I love the disrespect. Actually, you know what I mean?
Oh, keep bringing it. Love to have it.
They feed off of it.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping in. You know, that's how I feel. And Frank, you're right. That's what players should do too. I mean, players should feed off of everything. You look around and you circle and you look and you beg for motivation from something.
Yeah. You got to find it somehow.
Yeah, wherever you can find it, you go get it and then you get after it, right? Essentially, then you get after it and you use it to drive you, right? And that's what everybody should do in life. You should do the same damn thing. Not here to give you an inspirational speech, right, or tell you how to live your life, but you should always look for motivation. Yeah. You know, and I'll just use A2D. Somebody told me I couldn't do it. Okay. Right. And you got to find things that drive you on a daily basis. All right. And especially when you're a professional athlete and you look around the room, babe. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of guys are looking for things. You know, a lot of guys looking. Gets more competitive the higher levels you start playing on who's right, on who's taking it serious. And then the guys you see that are dedicated to the sport, like overly dedicated at this level, are usually guys that are extremely successful, right? But you got to, because those guys got to remember, like every level they go up, you get more and more dedication to the sport, right? So in college, from high school, you get way more dedication. So are you willing to put in more dedication than the other guys? That's where you start to see the cream rise to the top.
Absolutely.
All right,
oh, yeah. Dig it.
Dig it.
Oh, hello.
Dig it.
I was waiting for Chrome to like.
I was giving you that.
The cream of the crop.
The cream will rise to the top.
There you go. There it is.
Don, you ready for Rutgers this week, bud? Big game for James Franklin. Where you at, Don? Rutgers.
Oh,
Let's go 1-0 versus Rutgers.
What a shit show that was Saturday.
I was just waiting for Don to try and push the show another half hour.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I let that happen on Sunday. Right. We let that happen on Sunday. All right, boys. Great shit, like always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously stay tuned, hit the like, subscribe for all our content. Agree, disagree. There is a Sixers game Sunday, so there might be a little
Sunday
conversation.
at 3.
There might be a little conversation of like a little Sixers post gamer, like a quickie, right, Greg? But then, still do the post game on Monday with the boys from Rivals. That puppy, right? Still do that post game for the Eagles. So maybe we'll mix in 2 post games. I don't know. Next show for A2D Wednesday nights is next Wednesday, but like I said, you might agree, disagree. Usually Sunday, but Eagles play Monday night, so it made sense to go do that again. But Sixers play Sunday, so maybe we'll bring you a little double dip this week. Maybe
double dip talk.
Maybe you'll get in twice.
Ralph, what's up with the Lakers, bro?
Yeah, we're getting blown out tonight. Not looking good. Not looking good. It is
90. 98, and there's still 14 minutes to go.
Anthony Davis has a whopping 4 points tonight.
Yeah, usually what happens, right? Inconsistent Anthony Davis, as always. He'll
come out.
Some monster numbers last night, and then comes out
playing.
and does this. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. At least he's not hurt.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate the comments, brother.
You're the best, Jay.
Everybody too. Thank you, Cotton Ball. Everybody.
Oh yeah, there's been tons of them, even the bad ones.
Bill,
Mr. Rico. We still love you. We still love you.
No, agree to disagree. That's what it is. Agree to disagree. Did I say or?
No.
Okay. I may have. I don't even know.
Well, yeah. I'm just so used to hearing 2 that you might have said or. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I don't even know. But we love you all. We appreciate you. Thank you to Royal Billiard for bringing you the show every Wednesday night. You go check them out, royalbilliard.com. Go check out their game room, the big showroom they got. You got to go check it out, 515 Bethlehem Pike, Colmar, PA. So make sure you head over. And fun and hot tubs too, baby. And hot tubs too. Boys, love you. It's a great show. We'll be back next Wednesday.
Yep.
And shows every day here. So hit the like and subscribe.